Well, back tuning into today's video. It's JMA Friday, so we're going to have a look at weather for the coming month, and it takes us into November, go to the middle of November with this update. Had a lot of high pressure, so we'll be seeing whether there's indications of the high pressure breaking down anytime soon, or whether this bit of a high pressure fest that we've had for a couple of weeks now is going to carry on. But the coming months, so I'll have a little bit of detail on that in a second, but before I get on with that, just very quickly to mention the Gaz of this, there's links to articles on all the pages, so you can have a browse widgets and click through the links. You'll be helping to pay for the website, and thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on most of the pages which open out within the content, and then when you've watched them, they'll close back up again, so it's all helping to pay for gazwebbiz.com. Thanks very much for getting involved. Thanks for doing that. Very quick to say about tonight, I'm going to be doing a live broadcast from 7 o'clock in the evening with Quantum. So we're going to be discussing, we'll be discussing the shorter range options, whether this high pressure is going to break down, have a look at some shorter range models. Also be having a look at some longer range stuff, so we'll have a look at a couple of long range season models and talk about where we are with the winter update so far. So come back tonight for that from around 7 o'clock. Right, let's get on with the video, and we've got the 500 millibar height anomalies here from the JMA model for the coming month. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere, high pressure, low pressure being moved around by a jet stream running above. Red and orange extrapolates to high pressure and blue extrapolates to low pressure. So the first weekly period goes from the 16th to the 23rd of October, the week that we're in, and we see very much a continuation of the pattern that we've had for some time, which is high pressure right in over the country, the low pressure, the unsettled conditions away to the north and the west, the jet stream going a bit like that. So it remains pretty settled really for the coming week from the Japanese model. We would have a lot of dry weather and high pressure influences with that, and I think it's a pretty good representation really of the weather through the coming week. Now, as we go through to the second week period, it's going from the 23rd to the 30th, we do see signs of a bit of a change then. The ridge is breaking, so some of it's going down to the southwest, back towards the Azores. Some of it is going towards Scandinavia, or is staying around Scandinavia, and eastern parts of Europe into western Russia, and this trough of low pressure below average heights around Greenland and Iceland starting to come in. So this is probably a transitional period. Could start off with a fair amount of dry weather, but over time we probably find the high pressure being eroded by low pressure in the Atlantic, starting to break it down and bring more unsettled conditions through. And then we go through to the final 2-week period. This will go from the 30th of October through to the 13th of November, so going to the middle of the month. Always a little bit hard to decide what's going on with these, but I think it is turning more unsettled. The ridge of above average heights of high pressure is going back to western Russia. We've got these below average heights in the Atlantic, and I would think that the jet stream really is coming through the country, something like that. Now, I do have an area of high pressure down across Spain, or close to Spain and Portugal, so that may keep southern parts of the country a little bit drier, but overall I would suggest that's probably, although it's not a strong signal for turning unsettled, I would suggest that probably does imply, but as we go through into November, it gradually starts to turn more and more unsettled. The CFS V2 500 millibar heights broken down to weekly periods looks like this. The first week, going from the 15th to 21st of October, shows this ridge of high pressure very, very close to the country. You've got below average heights down to the south, jet streams going up there, with some of it going down there, and really high pressure is in and dominant for the coming week. Because we've got this below average area of heights, low pressure through Central Europe, though we could bring some showers on that easy flow into the east, but really high pressure is dominant. Now, let's go through to the next weekly period, going from the 22nd through to 28th of October, the high pressure is just in across the country then. So where the JMA is beginning to see a little bit of a breakdown beginning to happen at the end of October, the CFS V2 just keeps that ridge going, and that will be a very notably dry October. If that did come off, we really would have a very notably dry month indeed. And even into the start of November this goes on. So this is the 29th through to the 4th of November, still with that area of above average heights right in over the country, below pressure up to the north, and again the jet stream is going like that. So once more, as we go through to the start of November, no real signs of a change with that high pressure keeping weather mostly set fair. But then week 4, this is the 5th to the 11th of November, this does see a very dramatic shift then. All of a sudden, the high pressure's gone, and we've got this deep trough of low pressure appearing around the country to the northwest, with the jet stream coming through like that. So, as we get into November, the first few days of it probably largely settled, but as we get further into November, this does suggest a very, very quick and quite dramatic, actually, flip takes place to much more unsettled conditions. That will be wet and windy weather starting to come in off the Atlantic. Temperature anomalies for the next month look like this: cooler than average through the coming week. The next week period near normal for the south, and a bit warmer than average actually up in the north. The third weekly period looks warmer than average, milder than average week across virtually the whole of the country, with that high pressure in across the UK. And we stay pretty mild, even though it's turning more unsettled. We stay pretty mild then to the 5th to the 11th of November. Precipitation anomalies look significantly drier than average through the coming week. Hardly surprising, high pressure is dominant. As we go through to the next week period, again, it's significantly drier than average once more. The third weekly period, though, does see signs of a change, going to near a normal precipitation then. So maybe this is transitional, 29th to the 4th, although on the height anomaly look largely high pressure dominated. It could be a bit transitional, might turn a bit more unsettled later on. And then as we go through to the final weekly period, where the low pressure reappears, as you would expect, rainfall anomalies are going a bit above average, especially in the north and the west of the country. Temperatures look like this from the CFS V2. This is from the website weatherweb.net, and this is the city temperature graph for Birmingham. You can see that we generally hover around average with the temperatures really going through to the end of the month. This is the 1st of November just here. Temperatures are along the side, so this is 12 Celsius up here, about average for late October. Go through to the start of November, it does a little bit cooler, but temperatures still holding up reasonably well. A few cold snaps coming through though. And then we get through towards the second half of November. It does go really quite cold for a time then. This is maximums of around 4 or 5 Celsius just here. So as you get through to the second half of November, it does imply that our temperatures hold up reasonably well for the first part of the month. The temperatures do take a bit of a slide in the second half of the month. The 500 millibar height anomaly for November, remember these change day by day, looks like this. A lot of high pressure in across the country, dominant low pressure in the Atlantic and low pressure to the east of us, so the jet stream goes a bit like that. So high pressure really being seen by CFS V2 this morning for November. For December, we revert to an Atlantic flow, so we've got the above average heights there across Central Europe, and we've got low pressure around Greenland and Iceland, and the jet stream doing something a bit like that. So that's not what you want to be seeing. If you want a cold November, if you want a cold December, I should say, you want the reverse of that. That's a zonal December. It would be a mild month. A lot of dry weather in the south, but could be pretty wet and windy up in the north. That's very speculative. It's a long way off. So let's come back and concentrate on the shorter range. It looks like high pressure going on for the coming week could last into the next week as well. Seems as though at some point late October into November we're going to get a change to more unsettled conditions, but quite when it happens, not sure. The JMA is fairly bullish in it happening in the second half or in the latter stages of October, whereas the CFS wants to have it later in November. At some point this pattern will break. We've got to get a more unsettled spell soon, I would suggest. We're going deep into the autumn now, so I would think it's got to turn a bit more unsettled. It could be second half of October or late October. It could be into November. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. But certainly for the next week or so, we stay with a lot of dry weather. That's it for now. Come back this evening for the live broadcast. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.